From the virgin birth, a common one is the idea that Paul never refers to it. And I mean, Paul's epistles, most of them are obviously written earlier before the Gospels. So, first, does Paul mention it and mention them? And am I mistaken here from the resources I was looking at from the non-Christian side? And if he doesn't, why doesn't he mention the virgin birth?
Well, first, out of the four Gospels, Matthew and Luke mention it explicitly. Mark just begins talking about the Son of God, and John goes back to his eternal origins. So only two of the four mention it explicitly, which means they didn't all need to tell the story. And most of Paul's letters are written dealing with certain situations and issues, so he covers certain ground in them, but he never gives us a biography of Jesus or anything like that. But we do have a few texts that could tie in with this. For example, in Galatians 4, it says that he was born of a woman born under the law. Now, there are a few things Paul is saying there, but the fact that it just speaks of him as being born of a woman, that could imply that also. And then it says, Romans 1:3, concerning God's Son, who was descended from David according to the flesh and was declared to be the Son of God in power according to the Spirit of holiness by his resurrection from the dead, Jesus the Messiah, our Lord. There's the question about descended from David according to the flesh. Does that mean that Paul thought that he came through Joseph, his father there, or that Paul understood that Miriam, his mother, Mary also would have been a Davidic? We don't know, but the fact is there's no reason that Paul would be expected to talk about this. It was not necessarily a point either that was in dispute or that he needed to reference. For example, his strongest emphasis about the resurrection, his greatest teaching, and when he lays out, hey, this is what I was taught, this is what I learned, this is what I'm sharing with you, is 1 Corinthians 15. And the reason that comes up is because he's dealing with controversies about the resurrection. So, yeah, we have no need to press that. The fact that two of the four Gospels are explicit and that John speaks of the eternal origins of the Son, and that these things were all believed by the same folks that Paul was writing to. I mean, they're all part of the same believing community, means it really wasn't an issue or a controversy. It's a very weak argument from apparent silence. That's all it is.
Yeah.